Okay, first off, I need to change that countdown. If anything, I need to change that countdown eventually. Hello. Anyways, welcome to our mini episode as we review the latest episodes of The Loud House, part of our Loud Casa Talks. My name is Nate. Alongside, it's my good buddy Omid. How you doing, my friend?
What is up, Loud Crown and Casa Crew? Hope you all doing a fantastic, having a fantastic day. I know we are, considering we are back, baby. We're back to
I
doing
know.
with episode reviews. It's been a while. It's been like a couple weeks, but yeah,
It's
we're
been
finally back.
it's been a while considering that we haven't had much Casa. I mean, like we haven't had much Casa Grande's new episodes, and now we're going. And now that the Loud House episodes are finally back out again, now we can actually review the start of season 6. By the way, so it's like yes, finally we can actually get into season 6. And holy moly, Omid, what impressed you in season 6? By the way.
I think what impressed me in season 6 is how much they show they show more of the supporting characters, um like having more of a spotlight, like say Cheryl and Meryl, for example, who most of the time are secondary background characters. Like in one of these episodes we're going to talk about, they actually have like more of a main role to play. We know more about them. Like we know more about the show that they love.
I think yeah, that's definitely a duo that I really like. I know that we've been hanging out with Meryl so much that we ended up having Cheryl. I mean, we ended up having Cheryl a lot. Now we actually have Meryl, which is like, oh, cool, they're twins. But I love the fact that they have that twin dynamic that also happens in with Lola and Lana, which we will explain later in our episode reviews. But the other thing too that surprises me was there were so many references back to all the previous episodes. Like as we review today's episodes, we're gonna talk about like the continuity that has been happening, that it's been improving so much in season 6. So it just tells you that the writers have been listening to us, and that there's the continuity that the continuity problem that has been been stooping us Loud House fans for so long. Now it just makes us want to watch more. It's like, what happens next? Oh, I didn't know they actually referenced this back. So it's like, yes, I can finally was it relate to like what happened recently with the Loud House. So it's like awesome continuity that they finally fixed to say.
Yeah, I think it's because Loud House took a good look at the Casa Grandes and how they really nailed the continuity so well, and they realized, oh snap, we got to catch up to the Casa Grandes. Like we're sort of lacking continuity in comparison to our spin-off show. That's pretty sad.
I
Let's up our continuity.
I think the thing that kind of gets me is the fact that like the Casa Grandes did so much better at their continuity issue. And just a heads up, they started fixing up their continuity issue back in like season 3 when who left the show. So I feel like after that fiasco that happened with the Loud House, then look at them now from season 3 and onwards. It's like now you understand why it makes this show successful. So yeah, most
Exactly.
definitely.
It's gotten better since then. Yeah.
Yeah. And FYI, like I know that we have been away for so long, but to say the least, we've been busy with our lives. We've been busy with work. We've been busy with things on the side and all that jazz. But we're able to actually come back here and finally give you guys another Loud House episode reviews. So you know what? Let's go ahead and get things started, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, all right. So let's go ahead and start off with the first episode that came out on March 11th. It's called Don't Escar-go. The synopsis here is when Clyde had an opportunity to study cooking in France, the gang tries to keep him closer to home. Now, first off, in the beginning, we get to see Clyde is a great cook by he started cooking a lot of food for his friends to give him the news that, hey, I want to go to this culinary school. But the other thing too is that it disappointed them, the fact that it's going to be away in France. And yeah, so the thing is with all the great foods, he's definitely a shoe-in for this culinary school. So Amid, explain your thoughts here. Were you expecting to see Clyde be in that school in the first place?
Oh, yes. I love the smell of continuity in the morning, or rather night as we are recording this. Anyways, this definitely gives a callback to the Loud House movie, where it's revealed that Clyde's ancestors were from France, and Clyde's ancestor baked French pastries and all kinds of goods over there back in France. And honestly, I do love that the episode touches upon the fact that this could be Clyde's true calling. Like this could actually be, Clyde's, future where he pretty much is a French pastry chef. I can see him doing that, especially when Clyde has a knack for it, especially when Clyde has won many trophies and awards for that. Look at the Loud House movie. And we see a
Mm-hmm.
touch of that in Fam Scam. So honestly, like I do like where they're going with Clyde's character or Clyde's story arc in that he's thinking about his future.
I'm kind of like happy the fact that they actually referenced France. I mean, yeah, back in the Loud House movie, Clyde went to France with Nana Gale. And by the way, if you look back, Nana Gale would be the first. This will be the first time we saw Nana Gale in the Loud House movie. So I love the fact that they referenced back to France where they met up with like relatives and cooking at that side of thing. But remember, Clyde loves cooking, so you get to see a lot of like little bits of like him being a chef and all. Remember Brave the Last Dance, for example? He turned out to be a great like pastry, like a great cooker of cakes to say. So obviously he's going to become a great cook, and it feels like that's going to be his future. But later on in the episode, you get to see what happens for him in his future to say. But I love the callbacks. I love how Clyde looks like to have a future as a cook. Now, the other thing too that stood me up here is the fact that there is how you say continuity from this one scene in this episode of Don't Escar-go. Because I love the fact that, like, oh, we get the flashback from France where Clyde's relatives are at. And that's the reason why he loves cooking. Oh, they also have that reference where Liam said, oh, we're going to lose Clyde just like what we did to Lincoln back in Canada. So it's like, wait a minute, that was back in school. So it's like, oh, okay, we're getting all these continuity points back. How did you feel about that when they actually referenced, like, old episodes to say?
Yes. Continuity, more continuity. Keep it going, loud crowd. Like, it turns out not only did they reference the movie, they also referenced a past significant episode, which is Scold, in which Lincoln went up to Bill's school in Canada. I love the fact that Liam touched upon that fact. It was just, yeah, it's a good callback to very important episode like School that pretty much changed the lives of the Louds.
I definitely did awesome things. Just the fact that like the writers know about this whole continuity issue and they actually reference them back. I have a feeling after this first episode of season 6, it just tells you like maybe they have a lot more in hand coming up. I mean, remember, you did see the future episodes coming up. We are going to see an episode where Lenny gets her driver's license? Question mark.
Driving Miss Hazy 2. Driving Miss Hazy 2.
So that one episode we can't wait for, but that's gonna be probably for a while. But anyways, let's continue on with the episode here because Lincoln and his squad would suggest to Clyde by cooking French dishes in Royal Woods instead of in France, so that they don't lose him they won't lose him as he goes to France to say. So they would go to certain chefs around town like Lynn Senior and Chef Pat to help Clyde cook French dishes, but it all didn't work out too well. Omid, explain your thoughts on how Clyde handled these French dishes with these chefs.
Now, I love this part of the episode. I love this part that Clyde goes to different chefs and try to learn how to cook their significant meals. But unfortunately, things don't go to plan, causing Clyde to have no Gordon Ramsays left to teach him.
Oh my god. I actually did like this part. The other thing too is that I don't know why. Like, I mean, this is definitely a perfect moment for Lincoln's friend Clyde to have an awesome opportunity for him to cook in France, but at the same time they don't want to lose their friend. So I don't know what Lincoln's friends are doing, but they want to keep him in Royal Woods. It kind of reminds me of a certain episode. Does it remind you of an episode, Omid, from Loud House last season?
Yes. It
Like
reminds me of Scold.
The guy said Saved by the Spell.
Yeah, I was thinking it was more like Schooled because it's Lincoln going to like a different country and the rest of the friends try to get him back.
I feel like it was Saved by the Spell because it's where like the squad doesn't want, like, let's say for example, Saved by the Spell, squad doesn't want Lincoln to do magic tricks, and at the same time it's the same thing here where like they don't want Clyde to go to France, so what they do is try to do their best to like keep him here. So those kind of thing.
Yeah, but what makes this what makes this not as offensive as Saved by the Spell is that like Lincoln and his friends don't really belittle or they don't really look down upon Clyde's interests. Like they don't say like, "Oh, cookies for babies," like how Saved by the Spell. Lincoln's what's like magic is for babies. That's what makes Don't Escar-go not as bad as Saved by the Spell.
But the thing is, like, the squad doesn't want someone to do this or that or something. I don't know. They're trying to sabotage Clyde. I mean, that's what pretty much the point of the episode. Like, they want to sabotage Clyde so that Clyde doesn't go to France. I mean,
yeah, but
it
at
kind of
least that's
feels
what
like
they
that
do in the second half of the episode. But we're going to touch upon that.
Yeah, nonetheless, I was kind of shocked. I was like, well, it kind of reminds me of just that episode, Saved by the Spell. By the way, we did get introduced to a brand new character in the show called Waffles. How do you like Chef's Pat? Okay, first off, how do you like Chef's Pat return? Because we didn't know Chef Pat would come back again, and then she comes back, and apparently she's now a very awesome secondary character. And then
Yeah,
also her niece Waffles too. Okay, apparently she loves waffles. We get it. And every time she gets a waffle, it turns out to be like mayhem for the for the squad. How'd you like this whole? How'd you like the scene with like the Chef Pat and Waffles?
yeah, I like how Chef Pat is getting more prominent roles ever since Dis the Cook. Like Dis the Cook opened doors for Chef Pat.
I'm still waiting for a possible like flashback episode where we get to see like we can see Rita, we get to see was it Zach's mom and the Chef Pat hanging out or something. Maybe we can have like a flashback episode, please. Loud crowd, if we can.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I love about it. It's like, I like how Chef Pat has, is getting more speaking roles. I also like how we do see it's up to a point where we see Chef Pat, one of the members of Chef Pat's family, which is her niece Waffles. It kind of makes you think, does she also have a nephew named Pancakes?
Oh my god!
Imagine that. Like a
I
nephew
love the
named Pancakes and niece named Waffles.
I wouldn't be surprised because apparently you can name your kids after food. So like waffles, for example, for her, in her case, she loves waffles. We just named her Waffles.
Oh no, Chef Pat also has a cousin named French Toast.
Oh God! No. Now you're all making me hungry. Now I just got a big dinner. By the way, don't make me hungry again. All right. So because the chefs didn't help Clyde with making him stay in Ronald Woods, the squad would resort to ruining Clyde's cooking presentation to Mrs. DuPont, the dean of the culinary school. So as Clyde would prepare to serve the meals, the squad would do what it takes to make his food look bad, from adding too much salt, adding a lot of hot sauce to a dish, adding too much seasoning to a meal. Just a lot of things that were happening that the squad was doing. How were you feeling seeing these guys doing their best to sabotage Clyde as they try to get him, as Clyde tries his best to get into this culinary school?
Okay, now, as I said before, I love the first half of the episode. I love the direction that they take with Clyde in terms of wanting to stay home and cook at the same time. I love that we see Clyde learning to cook at Royal Woods with the help of Lynn Sr. and Chef Pat, who are coincidentally close to Rita in their own way, because it gives Clyde room to grow as a chef, learning different recipes, while at the same time trying to stay home while doing it. It's nice to see Clyde try to cook different meals with different master chefs, even though it's for the purposes of not wanting to move to France. But right after that, that's when the plot of the episode takes a left exit 12 off ramp. It goes immediately to a sabotage plot. And yes, while I can understand why Lincoln and his friends would ultimately decide to go with that plan shortly after the previous plan doesn't work, I honestly feel that the episode would have benefited from spending more time with Clyde trying to cook up different recipes. Because when you do think about it, if the episode establishes, it's even at the beginning, that Clyde is unsure of whether or not he wants to pursue going to France to cook. And it's established that he himself doesn't want to leave his friends too. So I don't understand why they had to take this route, and where Lincoln and the rest of the squad have to go behind Clyde's back and ruin his meals, in order to make his food look bad for the dean. Let's not forget, it's the dean of a French pastry school. Okay, you do not mess with that. Okay, I'm just saying. Like, honestly, like I said before, I think it's a simple fact that we've got way too many sabotage plots for
Right.
most of the episodes. And the thing is, Don't Escar-go had the potential to do something different with Clyde's character, do something different with the whole Lincoln squad. You know what I mean? Instead of just going with the usual sabotage plot formula that we've seen in millions of times.
It just feels like it was like another one of those sabotage episodes when you get to see them a lot in the recent Loud House episodes. Like Saved by the Spell, for example. That was a kind of a sabotage episode because you had to see Lincoln not do his magic. again, this is kind of the same thing. Like I said, I mean, this is kind of like the same formula here, where like the squad wants to make sure Clyde doesn't leave, and it doesn't feel good. By the way, I don't know why, but it just feels like there's a thing here where like the squad wants to stay together. I don't understand why they don't want to like have a person leave for the better of their future. To say, I mean, you've already seen how Clyde is. He's a great chef. He made cakes. He made pastries. He made all this kind of stuff. So it's like culinary school is waiting for him, and this is one of his futures that's possibly going to happen. And yet, you get to see Lincoln do his best. Lincoln and the squad do his best to try to sabotage his chances of him getting into this this French cuisine restaurant. To say, this is kind of unshowing for like a squad. Like I don't know, are just all supposed to support each other and do something like that? Um, doesn't seem that
Like,
way here. It seems like they really want to be together. I don't know, understand why they can't like have one person leave or something like that.
it's okay. I don't have a problem with Lincoln and his friends wanting Clyde to stay home so bad. But the thing is, you could have done that kind of plot like much more differently than we got in the second half. Like, honestly, I wanted like the first half to expand, like spend more time
Hmm.
with Clyde learning from Lynn Sr. and Chef Pat. Because I love that direction with, Clyde learning the ropes, learning to pretty much expand upon his knowledge of cooking from the experts. And also, I feel that this episode, another way you could have made it work is if you had, Clyde actually be in the, sabotage. Not really sabotage, more like Clyde, pretty much pleading Nana Gale and Dean to find another way to cook instead of going to France, like um find a way to take these courses and still stay at home. But the thing is though is that Nana Gale and Dean said that Clyde has no choice but to go to France. So Clyde pretty much works with Lincoln
Hmm.
and his squad to try to convince Nana Gale and Dean to make it work.
That
Like
would have
that.
done, yeah, that would have been something better. But instead, we just end up having this whole episode, this whole second half of them trying to sabotage Clyde. And I'm like, squad, what are you doing? You're not making yourselves look better if you're going to just like do something bad for your best friend. To say,
It kind of doesn't make sense when you consider the fact that, like, if Clyde wants to stay home, that like as much as you want him to stay with you in Royal Woods, why go behind his back to
mhm.
sabotage the meals?
Yeah, I don't know, but nonetheless, it was just more of the squad just trying to sabotage Clyde, and it turned out to be a little endless mayhem. I love the fact that like all the plans that they try to sabotage all failed except for that seasoning part, but we'll get to that later. Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the squad. They don't want Clyde to leave.
I mean, I wouldn't want my close friends to leave either. Okay, like I have two close friends
Like there
who
was a
live
better
far from me
like
too. So, but
yeah, I was gonna
still,
say, like,
though,
is there a better way to do it? I don't know. Could have done something else. All right, anyways, let's move on. Because before everyone ate the meal, though, Chef DuPont would make a toast pretty much saying that Clyde is definitely going to benefit a whole lot in the school. Now, this would make the squad feel bad that they're sabotaging his chances, that they would do whatever it takes to not let them have the meal. It would eventually be spilled on everyone, with which the squad explained everything and gave Clyde a chance to go to the culinary school. So, explain your thoughts here when they started making the switch here and pulled the meal away. Nonetheless, they still end up getting like a mess. They still end up making a mess. To say,
okay, this is where that plot gets a bit better, but it still follows the typical, sabotage plot formula where it's like, you know, all these characters don't like the way a certain plan is going, so they use their own plan to sabotage it. And oh, right after the middle of the sabotage, something comes up that they start to feel bad about it. Then they try to counter their own sabotage, and then they confess, and then all's well that ends well. I feel like it's same. Follows the same beat by beat here, but I do like how the animators show like the expressions on Lincoln's face, especially when he starts to think
mhm.
that this is messed up. We can't hold Clyde back from this opportunity. So what happens is that after a little back and forth from Lincoln to Clyde, Lincoln and his friends fess up that they're the ones that have been messing up the meals. And so, of course, Clyde is not happy about it. And trust me, if I were Clyde, I wouldn't be thrilled about it myself.
Yeah, to say the least, that whole turnaround I think made it better for the squad. I mean, it definitely looked bad for them, especially when they were trying to sabotage Clyde. But the fact is, when that toast happened, that's when everybody had a big realization, saying like, "This is better for Clyde." And I love the fact they tried their best to take away the meal, but it turned out to be a mess at the end. And I love the whole confession where Lincoln says they're sorry that we're trying to sabotage your chances. And then of course they also asked was it Chef DuPont to say, hey, give Clyde a chance for your school. And to say the least, I think this is definitely better looking for Lincoln, Stella, Liam, Zach, and Rusty, who pretty much
Mhm.
are all in this here, trying to make sure Clyde doesn't go to this culinary school. And in the end, they all agreed, saying, "Hey, we forgot. We definitely have to do this for Clyde, even though it's losing our best friend. We're definitely going to need him. He definitely is going to have a better future over there." So I love the whole turnaround. I feel like that's actually a pretty cool, like a pretty awesome like moment that they had there, where it's like they realized all of our selfishness here. We can't do this anymore. It's time for us to grow up and actually see that we have our one of our best friends of the squad is about to leave. We need to make him leave for the better, to say.
Yeah, like definitely. Like I said before, I felt like the second half could have been executed better. Like it could have taken its own, fresh, different take on Clyde's arc in this episode.
Yeah,
Like
most definitely.
it's not the fact that Lincoln and his friends were selfish. It's a fact that
Mm,
we've seen this done before again and
I think
again
we
and
see,
again.
yeah, we have seen this done a lot. At least this time around, it's just more of like, hey, we're turning it around and actually making sure that Clyde will get to this culinary school. Anyway, speaking of that, Clyde. Now, here's the thing: Clyde would fess up that he actually changed his mind on actually going to this school. It was an excellent opportunity for him, but he said he couldn't take the curriculum. That he might even change his interests because, by the way, he's in middle school. He still has a long way to go to actually decide if he wants to be a culinary chef or not. So it was understandable for Mrs. DuPont, and in the end, they actually did make a deal where they actually would teach, where she would actually teach classes to Clyde, plus Lynn Senior and Chef Pat and Waffles. So how did you like this whole ending here of Don't Escargo?
Oh look, cooking classes online. They're doing video chat. Like, wow, that's totally not reminiscent. That totally doesn't mirror today's society. Am I right, Nate?
We're not in a pandemic, okay? Over
Okay.
in Loud House, there was no pandemic apparently.
Oh, true. Anyway, so Clyde actually changed his mind on going, and I feel like pretty much he actually does have the calling. Yeah, I think Clyde has potential to be a pastry chef, but I'm glad at the fact that he's not, rushing to pretty much pursue that dream. Like he's taking his time with it, because you got to keep in mind Clyde is still a kid. But on the other hand, though, I do like the fact that Clyde, at his young age, is thinking about his future and what he wants to do. Now, of course, I did mention earlier that Clyde is still a kid, but keep in mind, Clyde is a sophisticated kid. This is the same guy that is into theater. He's into like adult dining. He's even into like he knows the architect of his own house. So pretty much like Clyde's a pretty sophisticated kid, and it's all thanks to being raised well by his two dads. So I would definitely say that I'm looking forward to seeing this arc of Clyde. Like, I want to see because this really does show this opens doors to Clyde being more than just Lincoln's sidekick. This is Clyde being his own character, and here it's showing his true potential. It's showing how he's thinking about what he wants to do. And the thing is, I want this arc of Clyde to continue on. I want him to either continue with Clyde's cooking arc, or I want Clyde to take on many different roles, many different occupations, and see which one he likes the best.
I feel like the culinary school is definitely going to be in the future for him, but it is true that he's definitely too young to actually get into culinary school right now, unless you actually make a huge passion to actually cook. The guy does have a lot of things happening for him. I mean, he may think about doing principal work. He might be going into teaching. Who knows what he's gonna do next? Yes, he is still a young junior high kid, and it feels like I mean, like when I look at this episode, I feel like yeah, Clyde might be leaving, I had a feeling in the beginning of the episode. I know that Clyde wasn't gonna go, and it was a good reason also why he couldn't go. I mean, like, yeah, the curriculum is way too hard. I understand Clyde also does have other options for him to figure out in his career, so it definitely did make an understandable ending. Nonetheless, he still ended up getting teaching classes from Miss Dupont. So in the way, he still end up getting those classes from Mrs. Dupont. And yet, yes, it's not like a culinary school like degree or anything, but you still end up getting classes from her anyway. And I love the fact that you end up getting Miss Lynn Senior and Chef Pat together. So it's like, oh, now they're also learning French dishes too. So awesome! Every chef is about to
Yeah.
learn French. Every chef is about to have French dishes in their like cafeterias or anything.
Yeah,
And if
definitely. And I do like the fact that Lynn Senior and Chef Pat are learning as well. Like, it would have been pretty cool to see Rita near the end be like, "Oh, my two favorite people and Clyde are learning, chef French cooking."
oh my god.
It's Rita's husband and Rita's BFF.
Yeah, Rita's BFF. Yeah, but still, that would be great.
What continuity
Yeah.
if it doesn't cook?
What if they actually did that? That would be pretty cool. All right. So, anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Yes. Like I said before, honestly, this would have been a perfect Clyde episode if it had just stuck with the first half of the plot, where Clyde pretty much learns, all about cooking, like, trying to learn about cooking at home. Like, the second half is where it took like I said, a left turn off the ramp, like I said before, with a usual sabotage plot, which I felt could have been like, I felt like it could have, taken a more unique approach to, like, pretty much having, Lincoln and his friends trying to get Clyde, to stay with them. But that's just me, though. Like, other than that, though, like, I would say it's a pretty good episode. Pretty good episode. There is some stuff I could have fixed myself, but it's still pretty good.
I have to say though, I would love to see Waffles again if she actually does pop up again.
Waffles
uh,
and
I
and
I mean,
and her brother Pancakes.
I don't know if there's actually a pancakes, but still, I love the idea that there's a crazy a crazy niece that Chef Pat has that loves waffles, and I was like, okay, she's definitely an awesome like a crazy kid, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, maybe we could get more of that. It'll be awesome to actually have an episode for.
I kind of want to see
It's like that. It's like
Waffles
that.
too.
It's like that. It's like that one crazy kid from Big City Greens. You remember what Cricket had to take care of
I
one
know,
kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So it
I
reminds
kind
me
of
of
want
that.
I kind of want to see that kid Waffles too. I want to see more of her.
But besides that, I think this was an overall good episode. Omid, what's your rating on this episode?
I would have to rate this an 8 out of 10. Like, definitely a worthwhile Clyde episode on its own. Like, there was some stuff plot wise that could have used a bit of tweaking. Could have done something different with the second half, but I do love the fact that it finally touches upon Clyde and his potential to, pretty much be a a French pastry chef. Like, I love how it touches upon the potential and how it's going to open doors to, it might possibly be the beginning of Clyde's character arc in which he pursues that goal, or he has another dream he wants to pursue. Like, I like the fact that like, it's touching upon what Clyde wants to do in the future, even though he's just a kid, but then again, he's a sophisticated kid.
I think this is definitely a good future episode for Clyde. Who knows what Clyde will do? I mean, there's just so much episodes where Clyde ended up cooking. I mean, even the Loud House movie just shows that he's great at cooking. But like this episode says, he has a lot to think about. I mean, it makes sense. Who knows what he will do in the future? Culinary school could not be the right way to go. And either way, I mean, like, yeah, it kind of feels bad the fact that like the Lincoln squad wanted to sabotage Clyde because they want to keep Clyde. The twist around at the end did help him a little bit, but nonetheless, the squad definitely wanted Clyde to stay. Though that was like most of the episode. So I like I said, I didn't really like that. It did give a little bit of forgiveness right at the end. And then of course a decision for Clyde to actually go to culinary school, which doesn't, which I thought was also a good lesson for like those who are junior high. It's like there's still a long way to go. If you haven't found your passion yet, then continue on with your school, and then maybe you might figure out something when you go to high school and all. Like I said, I really hated the whole Lincoln Squad and sabotaging each other. That kind of reminds me of Saved by the Spell. So I give it a 7 out of 10. Not really the best episode with Lincoln Squad, but maybe. But like I said, it's a little bit better. But yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. Not really the best episode of Don't Escar-go, but still, I think the only thing that kind of got me from this episode was the fact that there's a lot of continuity in here, and we're gonna explain more and more about this, especially in tonight's episodes. All right, so let's head over to our next episode that also aired on March 11th. It's called Double Trouble. Now, the synopsis here says that Lola and Lana take on Cheryl and Meryl for the position of their twin spokespeople for Auntie Pam's parlor. The episode begins with Lola and Lana getting some ice cream, and while they were there, Auntie Pam was going to hold a contest for twins in Royal Woods to become the next spokespersons of their store as she promotes that brand new Sunday Double Trouble. So there was no doubt Lola and Lana are definitely going to be in this, but remember, there's a lot of twins that are also in Royal Woods. Apparently Bud and Flip are, I think. I don't know. They can't be twins. I guess they are twins. They did compete.
John DiMaggio twins. So the John DiMaggios.
Yeah, maybe just because John DiMaggio twins were there. And then you also get, was it Liam's goats? You also get Scoot's, was it twin sister Mopes? Apparently they're a twin. I didn't know about that. And then you also do get the most competitive one, definitely that's going to stand out for Lola and Lana, which is Cheryl and Meryl. So when all the twins were accounted for, the competition will begin. And now let's explain what happened in the competition. Omid, explain your thoughts of the beginning scene here, and then the competition that the twins had to compete in when it comes to like taste tests, customer service, ice cream sculpting, and all that jazz.
First off, I love the fact that we got to see Lola and Lana's competition, where you got the John DiMaggio twins.
I wonder how they're not twins. What the fuck? How did they end up getting into the twin thing?
I said twins.
Yeah. But I would still be angry. That was like, you're not twins.
Yeah, you're cheating. You got Scoots and Mopes. You got Chloe and Millie as a duo.
That's not a twin. Right? No, they're not. No, wait.
How did they get there?
You said two girls. You said two girls. We haven't heard it so long, by the way.
I know. It's like how they look nothing alike. How they, side by side.
No. They didn't compete. They were just there. They're just randomly there.
Okay. I do like the fact that Millie's there to support Lola. I just love that part.
And then Chloe, I don't know what, but they're treating Chloe as a random character now. She appeared in Elect Shunned, and now she appears here. Can you at least give her with Clyde again?
Yeah, honestly, like 1 minute you had Clyde Jesse with Chloe, and then the next minute you had Clyde be like, Chloe who?
Oh, Chloe, no, Loud House crew, don't do this again.
What? Who is this Chloe? I never heard of Chloe.
Oh my god! Gosh. Oh no! Don't do it! Don't you dare!
In the Forgotten Bit it goes. Boom. It's weird. Anyway, Scoots and Mopes. Yeah, it turns out that Scoots had a twin sister, and she was never shown. She was never shown until this episode for some reason. And also Cheryl and Meryl. So yeah, I do love the competition that Lola and Lana do have, because they're pretty much different sets of twins. And also I love the competitions that they get into, like the taste test, the customer service, and the ice cream sculpting. I think my favorite out of all of them, honestly, is the taste testing. Like, taste testing is definitely a fun competition, because you get to eat the ice cream and then guess as to what it is. It's pretty fun.
I'm kind of interested in the fact that we had two goats end up being in this competition. I'm like, they like ice cream? I thought that would actually not work out for them. But I don't know what. I feel like animals are just definitely a thing that is running in the Loud House. Like, they care about the animals and all. So you get two goats that are twins. They eat the ice cream. They actually pass and actually get the right flavor. I love the fact that Bud and Flip end up losing because they just ate the ice cream and just slept. So it's like, okay, you're just there for the ice cream, right? Okay, bye.
How's it that the twin goats are able to compete in this thing? Okay, like, what happened? Did PETA threaten to sue Auntie Pam's parlor if they kept the goats out?
Don't bring them here, or else this is going to be a big riot now. I was gonna say sorry, I lost my train of thought here, but crap, I lost my train of thought here. Something about the ice cream sculpting competition, which makes sense, by the way. I'm like, I love. I mean, they had goats there. They obviously fought. Then they also do get the twins actually trying to compete in that ice cream sculpting pageant thing. Obviously, the winner was going to be the winner who actually did a great job in that ice cream sculpting contest. So it's like, yeah, it kind of was a given already. But nonetheless, I mean, like the competition was definitely fun to see. I love the whole funny business that happens throughout this episode. Like we get to see Scoots, but where's this mopes that Scoots has? Apparently, she has a twin sister we don't ever know about. We never seen it throughout this whole episode. Um, and and I like the fact that like what Auntie Pam said, all the twins in Royal Wood. So like I said, there's twins everywhere. So maybe twin goats are definitely a thing too. So that's why Liam brought them over so that they can try to compete for this. So nonetheless, I thought the competition was definitely fun, but we did get a winner at the end of it all, and we'll talk about this right now because the winner would end up being Cheryl and Meryl. Now, first off, this disappointed Lola and Lana. Um, sorry, ended up disappointing Lola and Lana after seeing that fight with a rule that was a rule that was accepted in Auntie Pam's parlor. They had a plan to have them hate each other and make them become the spokespersons of Auntie Pam's. Ooh, so Lola and Lana trying to scheme something to make sure was it Cheryl and Meryl fight. How'd you like this idea coming from the twins? Do you think this was kind of interesting, breaking up the twins in order to win a competition?
Oh, great. I already talked about, the overuse of Sabotage Plus. Here we go with another one. Yeah, honestly, like, but this one is quite interesting because of the fact that it's Lana and Lola wanting ice cream, and it's the fact that we're finally getting a twins episode, getting a break from the Link in the Squad episodes. I'm just like, okay, yes, we want more of the sisters episode, so I guess that's what makes it different in a sense. But yes, back to them trying to pretty much break up Cheryl and Meryl, trying to get the ice cream. I do like the fact that they come up with different kinds of schemes in order to pretty much get them to break up. Like they forge a letter sent by her boyfriend, and also okay, and this is what ultimately breaks them up once and for all. What ultimately breaks them up once and for all is something related to their favorite TV show.
I kind of felt that was weird, like because they couldn't watch this show together, that ended up breaking them up. But there were so many other moments where they could have been breaking up as well, like a spilled ice cream, or what was it? Because Cheryl didn't up his boyfriend anymore. I love the fact that like because Cheryl broke up because her quote boyfriend broke up with Cheryl. Like Meryl works out for me anyway. It's like okay, that's great. Family first before boyfriends, I guess. But here's the
Sisters
thing.
before masters.
Yes, okay, that could work too. This my thing though is like, oh my god, I never expect Lola and Lana to become that low where they actually want to win this competition and they would do anything to break Cheryl and Meryl apart to end up, being the spokespersons for what was it, Auntie Pam's parlor, and also get that free ice cream. So I'm like, okay, this is new to me. I never expect Lola and Lana to actually work together and actually break up a crew, to break up twins. Like that's new to me. I didn't expect Lola and Lana to do that. Usually, you get to see them as sweethearts, but you get to see them do
Well,
this kind of
Lana's a
thing.
sweetheart. It's believable that she would do this, and pretty much what I'm getting is that Lana has pretty much fallen under the influence of Lola. You know what I mean?
Right. And you also realize too. Like, I think Lana was also kind of like shy of the whole idea that Lola's trying to give to them, right?
Yeah, like Lana is pretty much like Lana's pretty much playing the role of the sidekick, and Lola is the mastermind. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, I do believe that it's mainly Lola that wants to sabotage the twins, and then Lana just goes along with it because she wants that ice cream.
I know that, and definitely they want to work together for it. Nonetheless, they still end up actually breaking them up. It really was kind of funny the fact that it was a TV show. I guess they really do love Southern hospitality.
That's
So
right.
okay, so when Cheryl and Meryl would, oh sorry, so now the twins would, oh sorry, we already did this already. So when Cheryl and Meryl would be there for Auntie Pam's debut of the Double Trouble, and didn't really work out well because of the fight that they would ensue. So with that happening, the titles would go to Lola and Lana, making their plan work out. But as they would see, Cheryl and Meryl would break up literally as Cheryl would actually move out. Um, and her twin sister, Cheryl was about to take a bus leaving Royal Woods, and her twin sister, and leave her twin sister behind. Knowing that, Lola and Lana had one thing to do: have them make up. What was it? Lola and Lana would admit that it was their fault that led to their fighting, which also clears up the situation to have Cheryl and Meryl back together, also retaining their titles for Auntie Pam's Parlor and having the ice cream they can eat. So this whole resolution ending thing, where like I'm sorry, I pretty much summed up 5 minutes of the episode, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you for the spoilers. Just kidding.
Nonetheless, I mean, like look, Lana would end up winning, but at the same time, look, Cheryl and Meryl did end up being in heartbreak, and then of course they want to be forgiven by making them become together. And then of course they admitted that, hey, we totally did something wrong. And then at the end, they still retain the title as Auntie Pam's spokespersons. So how do you feel about this whole ending here, or this whole last couple minutes here of the episode?
Yeah, it was a touching reunion, and it was nice to see like Lana and Lola own up to their mistakes as they would usually do. And I do like the fact that they go on this like double twin hangout where they pretty much eat the ice cream at Auntie Pam's parlor, and then of course you got the ending gag where a Scoots shows up, and then all the twins are all like, yeah, nice try. We know Mopes isn't real, but then it turns out Mopes actually is real.
Mopes is actually real. She actually does have a twin sister.
It kind of surprised us.
Why don't we actually see her in the show?
What a way to subvert our expectations, episode. What a way to subvert our expectations. It kind of makes you wonder why Mopes doesn't appear in future episodes, like one particular episode we'll touch upon later.
But yeah, like I said, it was I don't know. Would you say that? I mean, these are both sabotage episodes, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe the Laos love to sabotage in order to sabotage like people to get themselves a win in a competition, to say, or to get themselves a win. I don't know. I felt this one was a little bit better because of the forgiveness that they got with Lola and Lana versus Don't Escar-go. But it's weird to actually have these sabotage episodes, right? Like,
yeah,
let me tell you, have them.
2 sabotage episodes both together, that makes for some double trouble.
Wow. All right.
Double the sabotage, double the trouble. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. That's true. All right. Anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Yeah. I would say, though, that what makes Double Trouble better than Don't Escargo is the fact that at least Double Trouble didn't waste its potential that it had in the first half. Like Don't Escargo did. Like Don't Escargo, like I said, like the first half was leading up to something great. It was leading up to something. It was leading, like the first half was focusing on like Clyde's character arc related to cooking before it transitioned immediately over to a typical Link and the Squad sabotage episode. Whereas here, Double Trouble, at least there's a fact that Lana and Lola are back to to having a focused episode. And the fact that we get to know more about Cheryl and Meryl as characters.
I think the best part of this episode is the fact that we get more screen time for Cheryl and Meryl. We get it. They're twin, what is it, secretaries or something, because they help the principal and all. And the thing is, like, yeah, we never expected to see them as twins. We saw them in season 5. They had those moments, but these moments like this is actually like really heartwarming. Like, oh, there's twins in Royal Woods. You get Lola and Lana. You have was it Cheryl and Meryl? And I do love it. Okay, well, we didn't know that there was actually a twin sister with that. Okay, now we have to see more of Scoots and Boops now. Nonetheless, I was actually happy to see these twins actually like have their time together. Like they look to be like awesome together with yes, they're students and yes, they're older secretaries, but at the same time, it just feels like we just needed more about Cheryl and Meryl, because they look to be like awesome secondary characters, and I really hope we get more screen time with them. Also, another thing too, Grey Griffin, holy crap, you have way too many voices in this episode. You had Lola and Lana, you had Cheryl and Meryl, you had all 4 of them. Like, holy crap, how are you okay from this episode?
Grey Griffin really did have that voice range, and she nailed all these characters down to a T. Like, oh my god, like honestly, like she could do it all in one breath, and it's just so amazing to me.
It just tells you how talented of voice actors are, man.
You might as well call this the Grey Griffin episode.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could. Nonetheless, it was like I said, a good episode. Oh wait, I mean, what's your rating on Double Trouble?
8.5 out of 10. This was slightly better than Don't Escargo. Of course, you still have that twin chemistry with Lola and Lana, where you really do show that they work together as twins. Training Day did this better though in showcasing that, but for what it did here, it was quite good. Like in what they did here, of course you got to see all kinds of twins, which I like. Even the ones that really aren't really twins. Of course, you get to know more about Cheryl and Meryl's home life, which is really good. And of course, you got to see the chemistry between, just like with Training Day with Lola, Lana, and the Rabbits, you got to see the twin chemistry between Lola and Lana bonding with Cheryl and Meryl.
I definitely did like this episode a whole lot more than Don't Escar-go. Yes, it's another sabotage episode, but I do love the adorableness of what Lola and Lana are trying to do, trying to sabotage like Cheryl and Meryl in order for them to win a crown. Look, they're kids. They want to be impressive with their like friends by having this ice cream party. I love the fact that like literally after they won, they get the crowns, they go get their like classmates at ice cream party. I'm like, God damn it.
Twin
I
ice cream
definitely
party, right?
Wait, ice cream like Double Trouble ice cream party, which is obviously impressive for the kids and all. But yeah, I mean, I do love this the new things that we're seeing with Cheryl and Meryl. I hope we get to see more about them because they look like awesome secondary characters. I would love to see more.
They really
But
do,
yeah,
yeah.
but I do love the episode overall. My rating for this is 8 out of 10. Again, the sabotage episodes are kind of like why we're having way too much of this. But at the same time, this one actually works just because it's I think maybe a little bit different characters. Plus, I love the sweetness that comes into this episode too. So yeah, 8 out of 10, Double Trouble for me. All right, let's head over to our March 18 episodes, and we'll start off with the episode that first aired on March 18th. Oh, wow, we have a flip episode. It's called Flip This Flip. All right, so let's actually talk about this episode. The synopsis here says the loud kids help Flip clean his image to impress his high school crush. Oh, boy. First off, as we go into this episode, we have yet another flip episode. And by this stage, you'll probably be all like, oh my God, not another one of these. Oh God, disgusting, gross. Ugh. Now, Omid, what were your thoughts hearing that we're going to have another flip episode, knowing that you hate them?
Oh, 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 oh. When I first heard of this episode title alone, let me tell you, I was dreading it. I was dreading the sight of this episode title. I curse the episode title. I curse its existence. I wish the episode title was just a fan fiction and that was it. But no, it's the fact that it's an actual Nickelodeon episode title. It actually is real. And knowing that it is real, it hurts my every senses. It hurts every inch of my body. It really does. So yeah, I was ready to hate it. I was ready to rip it apart when I saw the episode title. But this somehow turns to be one of Flip's tolerable episodes.
Oh my God, Omid, saying it's a tolerable flip episode? I am shocked.
No,
I am very shocked at
tolerable.
this.
One of Flip's tolerable with a question mark.
I am shocked.
Even with this episode, Flip isn't really that great in this episode.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Omid loves a flip episode. What is happening here? Is this the world turned upside down? Did I move into a different dimension?
I know, don't be clear. I don't love this episode. Hell, I certainly don't love Flip himself in this episode. But there are parts of it that did legitimately work, and I can't believe I'm about to say this about an episode titled "Flip This Flip" out of things. Dear God, what is with that episode title? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Change the title, please.
Flip a house. Get it? Flip this house. So it's like flip this flip. Get it?
No,
Get it?
no. I'm sorry. This is a stupid episode title. You could have easily renamed this episode to a much better title. Any title would have too. Just flip this flip. Just really? Are you kidding me?
I think it's clever because it's like flipping a house, a bad house into a good-looking house. It's like a bad man. Making him look like a good-looking man. Okay, that's the problem with the title. It's a good one.
or I don't know. You could have named you could have named this. I don't know. You could have named this, Flip's Date or something. It would have been a better title. It wouldn't have made the episode better, but it still would have made the episode title more appealing. Actually, something you legitimately want to watch.
But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, it's a Flip episode, and when you come in, you gotta feel like, oh no, none of the one of these gross episodes. I just hope I can actually survive watching this episode. But as you continue to watch the episode, you actually might feel a little bit okay with him. But we're gonna be talking about it right now. Let's go back to the episode where we get to see a nervous Flip talk to Tammy. Oh, I've heard that name before. Remember, Omid? Um, huh? That one episode back in last season.
Oh
Um,
yes, Flip Miss Carol.
yes, Flip Miss Carol. Now it's weird when you look back from that one scene here. He kept that bag that that he kept in Flip Miss Carol. It just feels like, okay, I get it. You love Tammy. She never got over him. So it also helps that we were treated with a flashback. Literally that one scene in a Flip Miss Carol where you get to see Flip get dissed by Tammy because he couldn't be able to go to a dance to say. So how'd you like this little flashback here? Talk about continuity, right, Omid?
Yes, it's certainly not the best case of continuity that I've seen, let alone from the episodes that we just talked about. But let me tell you, like, it's actually quite impressive. It's quite surprising that there's still continuity from a Flip Miss Carol of all things. Like Flip Miss Carol isn't really one of the most memorable Christmas episodes of the Loud House. So I'm actually kind of surprised they touched upon Flip Miss Carol.
That's why, FYI, this was an episode that's one of the worst episodes of last year's best episode tournament.
Yeah, so I'm also kind of surprised because not many people talk about Flip Miss Carol. Like, when you think Christmas Carol, you certainly don't think Flip Miss Carol.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that I actually do love this whole continuity story. I'm like, we never heard about Tammy. Like, I know that Tammy was first appeared from the first like couple episodes in season 5, but we never expect to see like Flip actually continue to make a crush on her. And this episode was pretty much it. Like, oh, Tammy is still available or something. Like, oh my God, Flip still loves Tammy. Like, they definitely need to hang out again. He definitely has a huge crush on her. He never got over her. And I was like, okay, can we at least close this up? And I love the fact that the Louds actually helped Flip out in this situation. So here's the thing. Flip would call Tammy, and it seems that she misses him too. Which made Flip nervous and tossed the phone to Lincoln, which he would pretend to be Flip, by the way, bad impression. He would set up the date for Flip with Tammy the next day, but Flip definitely isn't prepared, knowing that Tammy is definitely successful after their last. He isn't prepared, knowing that Tammy is definitely successful after their last meetup in middle school. Like, you could see her in a magazine, actually dressed up and actually being all businessy. So with that in mind, the kids in the Loud House would try to flip this Flip and try to change him just in time for the date. So explain your thoughts on the methods that Loud kids would do to make Flip look better.
Okay, I will say this. What really carries this episode is actually the Loud kids themselves. Like, the Loud kids themselves, first off, like, they use several of the Loud kids. They don't use all of them. They condense it to having just like several Loud kids helping Flip in their own way. Like helping Lenny, you know, helping Lenny look, having Lenny help Flip look more fashionable, having Lisa help Flip be smarter, having Lola help Flip be more sophisticated, etc., etc., etc. I like the fact that they use the Loud sisters. Like they pretty much use the Loud sisters to help Flip, and none of them feel like extra. All of them do serve a purpose to the story, so I do like that.
Yeah, I actually do love the sequence here where they all try to help Flip out. I mean, it does make sense for everybody in everybody's case to help Flip out. I love the fact that Lana would be the one to actually talk about hygiene because she's the one who's always dirty most of the time.
I know, like you're one to talk, Lana. Who are you to?
Yeah, she doesn't. She doesn't
take
she doesn't take a shower yet. Again, she still ends up, talking about hygiene. I guess. How ironic. Lola etiquette, which makes sense. Yet Lenny, who knows fashion, obviously that's definitely a quirk for her. Lisa smarts. Obviously, you know why she's the one about smarts. I love the fact in the end too, where Lincoln's all about transportation. I'm like, really, Lincoln? You're the man who's gonna help these two become a couple by traveling them everywhere. Yeah, it was just a fun transition. Nonetheless, all of them actually did help out, make Flip look good, and it all worked out in the end to say. So as the kids would present the new Flip, he definitely looks like a better man. With the kids' jobs done, the date with Tammy was a go. So explain your thoughts when of the first date with Tammy with Flip when they went to Lynn's table to say.
Yeah, I do like the fact how Flip finally meets Tammy for the well, not really like, but it is nice to see like Flip and Tammy meet for the first time since middle school. It's sort of a middle school reunion, and pretty much along the way, the loud kids are there to pretty much help Flip out with the date. Um, Pretty much they help him dress nice, they help him with the dialogue, they help him they even help him pay for the bill when he tries to run out.
I remember
you,
that.
you, remember, you remember the scene where like
Yeah.
there's a scene where like they pretty much have the bill and the Flip like pretty much looks at it's like $85 and then he tries to run but
They just
then
run away, and then like a
and
piece of rope just like made him
yeah
stuck into the table.
yeah yeah uh, kids, yeah, this is the guy you're helping, really? This is are you kidding me? Like you're
but they
literally helping a guy who's trying to pretty much get out of his way of
but the
paying
but
a
the
bill. Are you kidding me?
But the thing is that they're trying to help Flip out when it comes to Tammy. Look, it's her long lost crush in middle school. Of course, they need to help him out and make sure Flip actually has a romantic relationship with her. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
because
thought it was okay.
you're
First up, I thought it was sweet. But throughout the date, you can still see Flip is still being Flip, like not paying the bill, like being messy, like the whole squirt bottle being all over his face. To say, I'm like, it's still Flip being Flip. I don't think they actually did a great job with it, but you still can't handle the fact that Flip is still just gonna be like that gross person.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, honestly, if I had my time to spend, I totally would be helping out a guy who pretty much left me to strand, freezing to death in Burger Town, and also pretty much bribing me into doing his bidding for him when I accidentally injure him.
sorry,
Yeah, that's the kind
sorry.
of guy I totally
I'm
want to
sorry,
help.
but that continuity never came up. Okay, that role line of continuity never came up.
Like seriously, why are you helping out this guy if you got nothing to
I
gain
mean,
from it? It would have been one
I mean,
thing if the loud kids have something to gain from helping him. Like I don't
well,
know,
they did. Well,
like
they
some
did
sort of
gain something. They did gain something. Beef
turkey
jerky.
is not enough. There has to be like a legit reward for this. Like I don't know. For example, let's say free tickets to Dairyland. Like Flip could
Oh
get him
my
tickets to
god.
Dairyland. They help him. Like okay, that would have worked. That would have given them a proper motivation to want to help Flip out. But no, it's just because the loud kids want to help Flip, and it's like okay, but what's the end goal here? Like why does why do you care so much about Flip wanting to reunite with his love, especially when he's not even that close to you?
You know what? It's just interesting. I just feel like the squad, that the cast, or like the people who are working behind the Loud House still wants to give Flip an episode. Nonetheless, like you said, I mean, it is one of the more tolerable Flip episodes because we all know. I think they've learned by now that we have complained a lot about the Flip episodes recently. Okay, so probably they're trying their best to actually make something that can make Flip look great, like romantic romantic date back to one of his like long lost crushes. I thought that was
Yeah,
actually sweet.
like honestly, when I say Flip at one of his more tolerable, like I'm gonna be honest, like even with Flip at his most tolerable, he still isn't a good character. Like it's one of the things where it's like at best it's you know Flip in Flip this Flip, and at worst it's Flip in Blinded by Science.
Yeah. Nonetheless, it was still pretty sweet. I mean, yeah, the personal gain in this episode was just more of like jerky, but at the same time, you're just trying to help Flip not be gross, like the same old gross slob that we continue to see. But anyways, let's move on here. So after Lynn's table, both Flip and Tammy would go into the opera, where Flip would also ruin the date with his usual antics. Yeah, sleep through an opera, about to play beach volleyball or something right into the crowd. It would end up with Flip showing off his gross side, which he would admit that the fancy Flip is not him. He would show his true side, knowing that he's pretty much a gross slob. So how does his whole confession from Flip during this part of the episode?
Again, loud kids. Like, this is a guy you're going out of your way, like spending all your
Oh
time,
my god.
money, and energy trying to help reunite with his, middle school crush. This is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy. Anyway, so after like his confession, now you think that the plot would go in a certain way in which that like Tammy would either be heartbroken by Flip's lies or just by the fact that Tammy would reveal to Flip that because they're two different people with two different careers that they just aren't perfect together. Like honestly, that's what would have elevated this episode. That's what would have taken a more mature turn. That's what
Mm.
actually what would have pretty much like that's what would have really helped flesh out Flip's character. And when I mean flesh out, I do mean flesh out like sort of like do a bare minimum to Flip. Like honestly, I was waiting for that. Oh, but no. We gotta go the typical, happy ending, the Loud House typical happy ending. So
Yeah.
of course we gotta make Tammy gross too. We gotta make Tammy female Flip.
Okay, so that part kind of ruined it to
Why?
me. Like, okay, cool. Like I thought Tammy would actually be okay with a gross Flip. Like I would be okay with you being gross. It's just that I still love you ever since middle school. But no, she's turned out to be disgusting too. And I'm like, oh no, this is not what we're expecting to.
Yeah, you see that idea the idea I brought up, it would have been way too good to be true because that would imply that the series would do anything worthwhile when it comes to this waste of a character.
I don't understand why they did that though. It's like I think it would have been a better ending if Tammy accepted Flip just by himself, and she's still the same old sophisticated like girl that that Flip remembers. But no, we still end up having her having a disgusting
Oh my
Tammy, and
god,
I'm like, okay, I get it. They are meant to be together because they're both gross. I get it. That's how it's supposed to end.
you know what? You know what? I think Lola put it best. Like after we see Tammy and Flip doing their
Gross stuff.
charming, just ever so charming armpit farts and all this.
Oh
Oh my
god.
god! Oh my god! Lola, I'm gonna quote Lola. That is the grossest ending I've ever seen. It's like yes, Lola put it best. Lola pretty much put this ending best. Thank you.
When you have the girl talking about etiquette throughout the episode, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's Lola was pretty much saying what we were all
so
thinking.
my thing in the end though, do you really want to see Flip and Tammy again? It feels like there are going to be a couple. So hey, at least Flip has a girl now.
Yeah, because one male Flip wasn't unbearable enough. Well, now we gotta have two Flips, but this time a female Flip. Oh god, just why?
So
Why?
apparently
You had the opportunity to do something good with Tammy and you ruined it. You ruined it.
So I feel like when we get to see him back at Flip's Feud and Fuel, we'll get to see Tammy too. I just hope it's not the case. Remember, she runs a successful business, so I hope we don't get to see her again. If anything,
Yeah.
we get to see her back at Flip's place. At least I don't know where Flips lives. Does Flip live in that place? That would suck, by the way. Tammy, don't ruin your opportunity because you actually run a successful turkey business.
You have so much, that you have so much that you have, Tammy. And if you even think about wasting all the success you have just to go and live with this mutant, I swear to God, I will lose all faith in character writing forever. I will lose all faith in character writing forever.
Never tells you like how the loud crew better not be making another Flip episode, so we get to see more Tammy now. Wow, that was I want to say though, I did love the whole confession at the end. If the ending turned out for Tammy to love Flip the way he is instead of actually having her be gross, then it's just like then it would have been a sweeter ending. But no, we end up actually having both of them being gross and all. Yes, they're perfect for each other, but yeah.
Yeah, please no. I'm sorry. You
had so much potential for a Flip episode to be so good, but at the end it turned out to be like a decline.
when they say love hurts, that's pretty much
it hit the peak of the confession, and then you get to see Tammy disgusting. I'm like, oh no.
But you want to know what upsets me about this the most? It's the voice actress of Tammy.
Yes.
Now, of course, Let's talk about it right now.
we have the legendary Jodie Benson who voices Little Mermaid. Are you kidding me? Why would
Yeah.
she?
What really upsets me was like you wasted Jodie Benson's talent on a character that had so much potential to work, but then just fell flat into space at the end. Like really,
I
like
don't
the
know.
safe voice actress
I
is
do.
Ariel.
Okay, so I do love the fact that you end up having a legendary voice actress actually be a part of this episode. I'm like, oh, awesome, awesome, that's great.
Yeah,
Um,
I love Jodie Benson and I do love the Little Mermaid. So I was looking forward to seeing what they would do with Tammy, and they pretty much had it right there at the first two halves of the episode. But it's just the ending where it falls flat on his face in terms of the character. But even then, like Jodie Benson really pulls off the character so well. Of course, like Jodie Benson, let me tell you, her talents like she's still a talented voice actress. Like she hasn't lost her touch. So that's really
no,
good.
and the other thing too is that she still appreciates her fans too. I remember that she goes to Sac Anime a lot, so yeah, it's great to hear.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is that it's great to hear Jodie Benson. It's great to hear a legendary voice actress actually be a part of this episode. Now it kind of feels like whenever we see Tammy, we're gonna see more Jodie Benson. So I'm guessing, I guess we're gonna see more Tammy. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. We'll see. We'll see how it is.
Oh God.
um,
Yeah. Like
besides,
I'm thinking to myself, like, Tammy, are you sure you want to be part of his world?
oh
When you
no.
got so much success right here. Come on.
Oh my
Be
god.
part of your world. Be part of your world, Tammy. Don't be part of his world. Be part of your world.
Okay. Besides that, anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Honestly, what could have worked is that what could have worked is that Flip reveals to be a girl's gas station clerk, and then Tammy reveals to actually be a mermaid herself, and you see her
Oh my
with
god.
fins.
No,
That actually
come
would have
on.
been a much better ending
Oh
than
no.
this.
Oh no. Just because she's a little mermaid. Yes, we get it. Jodie Benson is Little Mermaid Ariel. Okay.
Yes.
This besides that, I think this is like an episode where it was just more of like we had so much potential for this flip episode to be so good, and then it turned out to actually fall at the wayside right at the end of the episode. I would understand how we get our hopes up for an episode that looks to be great, and it turned out to fall at the end. I was like, oh no, not no, why would you do this? But to say the least, maybe albeit is right, it is one of Flip's more tolerable episodes. I mean, we will
Yeah.
never.
Tolerable?
Uh,
Tolerable with a question mark.
I mean, we had Flip Miss Carol, we had House Flip, we had like all these other Flip episodes, and we get it, they're disgusting. But Flip Miss Carol, I think, was the more tolerable, like was a tolerable episode, and then Flip This Flip was definitely more tolerable to say. So
The
at least I
the
can watch those
kids
two. Forget House Flip.
like it's the kids like the kids themselves are what carry the episode, like
Mhm.
Lincoln literally carrying Flip and Tammy at the end, like as Flip and Tammy would make their noises, and then oh my god, yeah, like Lincoln like carrying like by riding his way, like that pretty much summarizes that pretty much like sums up the entire episode, just Lincoln pretty much riding the bike with Flip and Tammy on the back, because Lincoln and his sisters are what carry this episode.
They at least help Flip out, and then okay, according to Omid's case, I don't know why they're helping Flip out after what he's done to them. Um, I don't know. I guess Flip is just going to be a big thing in the Loud House again. I mean, they're having more episodes for him, I guess. Omid, how would you rate this episode?
I would honestly rate this. Now, a lot of you are going to be surprised for me to hear this. I would honestly rate this a 6 out of 10.
Oh, a 6.
Yeah, I find it to be a overall meh episode in my opinion. Like I said before, like I've seen Flip in much worse appearances, like much worse. But even here, he's not really all that great. Now, the things that do like keep this episode at a 6 rather than below is, like I said, the Loud Kids are phenomenal in this. Like, especially when you see Lincoln and Lana together at Flip Spoon Fueled Bonding, it's just like I want to see more of that. I want to see Lincoln on screen with another Loud sister. That's just so amazing to see, and just the fact that each of the Louds help Flip in their own ways, using their own talents to pretty much help Flip for God knows what reason. But and also like Flip does, I just a small bit of credit, he does try in some places, but then for the most part, like I said, Flip is just being his usual Flip self that we all just love, don't we? And Tammy was a good character for the most part, but then it's pretty much after that's pretty much before the whole twist, before the whole reveal of Tammy. And of course, Jodie Benson really does nail the character down from beginning to end. So honestly, all in all, while I definitely wouldn't consider this a good episode, it's more of a meh episode. As far as Flip episodes go, it's actually one of the better ones. And even at that, like the better Flip episodes are still not that great. So take it for what it is.
Okay, so to say the least, like I said, it did have a good potential of going it higher. Like, oh, we got some a potential for Flip to actually become such a better person. To say he's so clean, he's so sophisticated and all, but it turned out to be in the end, nonetheless, he's still the gross old Flip that we get to see throughout the Loud House. And I really did hate the fact that like Tammy would end up being gross too. And I'm like, okay, this is cringy now. Why Jodie Benson? Why would you end up being with a person like Flip? Like I was disgusted with the whole ending too. If anything, if there was continuity in this, I guess we get to see Tammy again, but probably in that gross setting. It's gotta be interesting now. What will happen to her? Not but overall, I give the same rating like Omid 6 out of 10. Like I said, it had potential, but then it started to fall down by the wayside right when we hit the climax of the episode. So overall, not the greatest of episodes to say, but yeah, 6 out of 10 is like the most tolerable I can say for a Flip episode.
I will say this, like, girl, your father, King Triton, was right all along about humans. Like, you take a good look at the person you're dating with, and I'm just like, King Triton actually did have a point. King Triton did have a point about humans. He was actually onto something.
Don't bring the Little Mermaid world in this.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, honestly, if this is what you think of when you think, how human worlds could be, so fantastic and all this stuff, I'm just like, no, you listen to your father and stay under the sea, okay?
Oh my god, we're bringing back our old Disney classics now. Okay, so that's it for flip this flip. Let's head over to our last episode that also aired on the 18th of March. It's called Haunted House Call. In this episode, the Morticians Club can't afford tickets to Casket Con, so they decided to start a business to raise money. So we saw from the beginning, like they're trying their best to sell what is these like cake pops in order for them to go to Casket Con, but it turned out to actually have a better outing when they actually helped Mr. Grouse with their ghost possession, with their ghost possessed house, and actually get the house. Get the house taken. Oh, I'm sorry, not get the house taken away, but more like get the house deghostified after what the ghost demands from Mr. Grouse. So in the end, they ended up getting a lot of money from their house ghosting service that they ended up making this a business. So, explain your thoughts on how this club decided to get this idea go to work for Casket Con.
Honestly, I love this idea. I already love the fact that it's a much better use of ghost characters. Much like, imagine this, a 15-minute episode like does much better with in terms of ghost characters than a certain 30-minute episode that we got from last season. So take it for what it is. Now, I love how it focuses on Lucy and the Morticians Club wanting to go to con, because I'm a con goer myself.
Oh God.
But it's their own goth con. And there is actually a reason why they want to go. Apparently, they want to check out this hover casket.
I have this question here. Have you heard about this Casket Con before?
I actually haven't.
I thought we actually heard this Casket Con before. Remember Ellis for Love?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I
That-
remember.
that's t-
I don't think.
that's
I
a-
don't think. Okay, so I don't think it was Casket Con, but I know it was like some sort of. I know it was some sort of casket that Lucy was checking out, and it ended up
Okay.
actually hooking up with a guy.
That is a bit of continuity that I sort of forgot was there, but then again, it's probably for the best since, he was part of the scene.
Come on, Omid. Forget it. It's over. He's gone. He's in the abyss of forgotten characters.
Honestly, it's actually ignorance is bliss sort of thing. Like it's sort of, I'm sort of better off forgetting about that certain part because, a certain ship that should not have existed at all played a part in that scene. But I digress.
I mean, I was thinking that was a Casket Con reference, but I could be wrong on that. If anybody can fact check me, that would be great. Um, but yeah, I love that whole scene here where like we get to see this ghost that is haunting Mr. Grouse's place turn out to be Miss Lady Emmeline, and I love the fact that it got possessed by Boris, and then he
Mhm.
started to get all fancy looking like what Miss Emmeline was going to be. So it was pretty cute, but at the same time, I get it, like she lived in that house for so long, a long time ago, and it looked so great. It looked so bad because Mr. Grouse's decorations was just all, out of whack. Obviously, she wants to make sure that her house looks great, and that's why that decoration came in, so it looks more fancier, and that's why she went back into the ghost world to say. Um, I mean, like this is kind of crazy. Like apparently, like the Morticians Club definitely knows how to rock with ghosts now. I guess they really do have this sort of thing where they know how to rock with ghosts and stuff. They've improved from what happened in season 5 to say, but that's
Yeah,
cool.
honestly, they're quite at like pretty much. We've seen them become like the episode like the series clearly shows them as they've shown us time and time again that they are ghost experts. Take a look at that certain episode from season 5.
Oh, ghosted. Oh god. Please stop thinking about that episode. I know a lot of people hate it.
Well, no, like I said before, Haunted House calls us a much better use of ghosts than that episode turned
Oh
out to be.
god. Oh boy. At least it ghosted. Okay, forget ghosted. I can remember. I can just tell you that we golfers don't have ghosts. Okay.
Exactly.
As a golf
At,
person
at,
myself.
at least these ghosts don't cheat in golf.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, like, I don't want to reference back to that episode. Nonetheless, they have a brand new business, Lucy and the gang. I feel like I said before, Omid, it feels like Lucy is definitely going to be going with the Morticians Club, and I feel like everybody's loving the Morticians Club. That's the reason why we have more episodes of them.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, like I love this idea of Lucy and the Morticians Club like starting a business to pretty much go to who are you gonna call? Morticians Club.
That's
Like
a good little
they're
reference.
becoming their own Ghostbusters in a way. Like Lucy and the Morticians Club are basically their own arc, but instead of like going the Ghostbusters route, they're usually like summoning them and pretty much talking to them to pretty much solve the problems.
I actually kind of say like again, we're gonna probably see more Morticians Club episodes, but we've seen a lot of that back in season 5. But it feels like Lucy definitely does have a click here, where the Morticians Club are definitely going to be a big focus when it comes to the Loud House itself. I mean, we're going to season 7. I'm pretty sure Lucy and the Morticians Club are going to come back again with another episode somehow, some way. So as soon as they know that they have a business going on, they started to make a commercial having the club dance to a catchy tune and for them to call a number for help. And soon the customers will be coming in from Mr. Polk's suit shop to the Honeycut Farm and Cheryl and Meryl's place. So explain your thoughts as the club starts making deals with the ghosts as they continue their money quest for CasketCon.
Oh, look, more continuity, and it's more continuity for the episode we also discussed tonight. Cheryl and Meryl love Southern hospitality.
Yep.
More continuity. Let's go. Also, this is where the episode takes full advantage of the concept of ghosts. I love how each and every ghost have their own personality traits as well as their own reasons why they are haunting their own respective victims. Like I love how they're each very distinct in their own character design as well as their motivations. I just love that. That pretty much like screams creativity, and I just love the episode for pretty much taking the creative route and giving the ghosts each their own identity. And I think like one of them that stood out to me also was like how the ghost was haunting Rusty's dad's rent tuxedo place. And then turns out the reason why that is because like when the ghost died, they gave them a tuxedo
They
t-shirt, but
gave
he
him
wanted a
a
real tuxedo.
they real t-shirt tuxedo instead of a real tuxedo. So it's like, oh well, obviously, kind of they make the ghost pissed off.
Yeah,
um, uh,
I'm seeing myself. Wow, that's actually
also,
a legit
also,
reason to haunt that place.
also, another thing too is animals can also be ghosts as well. So I didn't expect Liam to actually like be bad to a donkey. So, oh, I felt so bad for Liam especially, and then obviously there's a reason why the goat was why the donkey was angry at him, so he had to confess, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. And also Cheryl and Meryl too. I mean, like, yeah, there's a ghost that's continuing to change your channel because the ghost there loves to watch that watch that show that he loved while he was there. It was actually pretty cool to actually see ghosts come up and possess them because of their, I don't know how to get them into the afterlife to say, but I'm guessing their wishes weren't fulfilled here back in the real world. It's the reason why that these ghosts continue to pop up. And I love how the British Club just tried to make deals in order for the ghosts to go away. And in the end, they still end up getting a lot of money for them to get into Casket Con to say.
Yeah, like that's pretty much what happens. But they are almost there, though. They were almost there, but then they still fall a bit short. And we're going to touch upon that right now.
So they thought that they got a good business going, but it'll all turn sour soon as the calls for the ghosts start to run dry. So they only a few more bucks left. So what do? So they call on the spirit to haunt the place that they need the more Morticians Club's help once again. So they would summon a prankster ghost fooling around Royal Woods, mostly Scoots. And then they would end up getting that money for Casket Con. But then here's the bad part about this, though. That ghost doesn't want to get back into the ghost world to say. So now he starts running amok, and a lot of mayhem comes into the Royal Woods. So how did you like these couple of scenes here, and did you expect this to happen after the club summoned a ghost out of his free will?
Yeah, honestly, like I got to be honest, Buzz is one funny ghost. He really is. Like the way
Yeah.
he just like goes around like pretty much pulling pranks. It's just like, okay, I have a feeling that might be Luann's idol. Like I have a feeling that
Yeah, I can
Buck
see
was
that.
this like celebrity comedian, and pretty much I want to see this connection where pretty much Luann has studied Buck's art of pranks and comedy. Like she searched up his history, like the history of of Buzz, and that's how she became inspired. I kind of want to see that connection. But anyway, going back to Buzz, let me tell you, he wants a mug and he causes chaos throughout Royal Woods. Like he pretty much goes and pretty much makes Flips food free. He pretty much terrorizes Lynn's table, and not only that, but like he runs amok, like going around causing chaos of the entire town. That's what causes. So what they do is that they grab salt and they have the pretty much Buzz be surrounded by the salt because apparently salt is what helps trap the ghost, and so they do a successful job at catching him, and then they send it back to his grave.
I feel like this was definitely, I don't know. I mean, I understand why the Morticians Club needed to actually just summon him just for the, how you say, the money for Casket Con. So, it turned out to really work out in the end, considering that Scoots was the victim and all. I feel bad. I feel bad for Scoots, considering that, yeah, she got puddinged on. She gets tripped. Her things go haywire. They even haunt. The guy. I forgot his name, by the way. That was always with Scoots. I forgot his name. But the other thing too that also surprises me is the fact that they use weapons to try to capture the ghost. Did you get the whole reference that they end up getting the Aardvark vacuum from Lincoln Loud? So it's like,
Oh god,
oh,
I
whoa, that's interesting. I didn't know you actually would take some things from
I
Lincoln.
love that line where that Lucy says, "It's like, by the way, don't tell Lincoln that I took it from him." It's like I love
Yeah,
that line.
exactly. And the other thing too is that it tells you like Lincoln is still into Arg.
Yeah, he
So
really
I thought that.
is.
So I love that whole callback. By the way, so it's like, okay, besides Lucy trying to capture ghosts via the salt or anything like that, you can also use those vacuum things. And apparently, she's learning from Lincoln, I guess. I'm guessing she's also a fan of Arg. Now we have to actually see her in an Arg episode.
She's got to be a fan of Arg. It's pretty much a show about ghosts. Like, why wouldn't she be a fan of Arg?
So yeah, and I actually do love Buzz. He looks to be like a very funny person, loves to prank around Royal Woods, and you get to see it a lot. By the way, he starts like running amok with the fact that he's giving away that he's gonna give away free flippies out of Flip's like demand. So obviously Flip is like saying like, "Hey, no one's getting free flippies. Give them back to me." And of course the Morticians Club knows what to do. And obviously, I don't know what's going on with the Morticians Club, but they know how to summon ghosts and also how to close ghosts. So it's like, oh, cool. So we get to see more improvement for the Morticians Club. So now let's head over to the last couple, the last scenes of this episode. Though it's kind of interesting because it plays out like this: Ghost gets captured at Flips. The ghost will return to the afterlife. With only a few hours left till Casket Con closes, they would end up not going to the con because they close on them. Yet the casket that they wanted to see ended up with them after all, as one guy who was pulling it away gave him a ride by bribing him. The episode would end with the whole Morticians Club flying away in this new casket. Quite a lot in that last few minutes. How do you feel about this ending here?
Okay. Now this ending may seem a bit bittersweet because you think that they're going to arrive at Castle Con after all, but no. It turns out the Castle Con was closed. Huge bummer for them. But then it turns out that what makes it work is that when a certain plan doesn't go their way, there's always something to help cheer them up. So so she pretty much asked this guy if they can ride the new casket, and like just for the fact that he agreed to it that easily, like I found it to be a bit far fetched, but that's just me. So like. But then again, like Lucy and the Morticians Club do get their happy ending after all by riding this casket. Because when you do think about it, it's pretty much the main reason they wanted to go to Casket Con at all.
Right, that's the other thing. But at the same time, it kind of feels like a gimme. It feels like how have we said this before?
How did he agree to it so easily? How do you just give him away so easily?
How do you give that away so easily just because you gave all the Casket Con money to the guy and then you end up riding with the casket that they really wanted to see over at Casket Con? It feels like it was how you say like it was
a rushed ending.
It was a rush. It was a rush. It was like a huge rush because I understand that it was definitely like there was a lot of things that happened that last couple of scenes. I'm like, maybe we could have actually thoroughly done that properly. Then maybe we could have actually had a good ending for it overall. But there's way too much that actually came up. Like, it was like, the ghost is gone. Oh, the con is closed. Oh, they end up getting the casket after all. So it's like, so they still won at the end. I mean, in the end, they would say like they would be disappointed. I mean, like if I were to put up the ending here, I would say like they would be disappointed, obviously, for like going to Casket Con. But the fact that they still end up riding with the casket at the end, I thought that was just like, that was quite a give. That was quite a win for them for some reason.
A bittersweet win.
A bittersweet win to say, but yeah, it was interesting. I didn't really. I don't know. I was kind of confused with what happened at the ending, and I also kind of felt meh when it comes to the ending. Also, nonetheless, still a good Morticians Club episode, but. Maybe if the ending would have been portrayed a whole lot more lengthier, then we would have had more of an explanation of what's going on there. Anyways, anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Yeah, honestly, like I said before, like this was the best use of ghosts, like other than the Loud House movie, because of like I said before, like I especially love the character designs and the personalities of each of the ghosts, how they were so distinct. Like they don't feel like the same kind of ghosts. They feel like different kinds of ghosts with different kinds of motivations. So that's what really sells this episode to me.
I think this is an all right episode. I mean, like we love to see more of the Morticians Club and Lucy Loud just being the leader and trying to help the Morticians Club out when it comes to whatever dark magic that they always have in that club. And I feel like this was great. But like I said, the ending kind of got me, and I'm like, now I kind of feel like, what's this episode now? Omi, what's your rating on this episode?
I'll give this a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I feel like this is one of the better Lucy and Morticia's Club episodes because, like I said, it centers around them starting a business in terms of, summoning ghosts and helping them with their problems. I really like that concept. I really like that idea. But then it takes a bittersweet turn. And while it is a bit rushed, like at least they do ride the casket at the end. So there's that. I want to see more of Lucy summoning more ghosts in future episodes because that would make for potentially great Lucy episodes.
I would say this though. I mean, the episode definitely is absolutely all bittersweet. The fact that they ended up running a business and they ended up actually getting all that money to get to Casket Con. It kind of is disappointing the fact that they didn't go to Casket Con, but in the end, they still end up actually writing that casket, which I said, like I said, the ending was a bit rushed. The ending kind of felt like it was given to Lucy it was given Lucy the casket so easily. So it's like, okay, what a win.
Yeah, I guess
um,
bittersweet win.
yeah, nonetheless, it was it's like I said, a good overall was it Morticia's Club episode. So I give this an 8 out of 10. Not bad of an episode. I do like it, but like I said, the ending definitely kind of got me all confused there. All right. And with that in mind, that's pretty much it for our Loud Casa Talks review episode. So just remember that you can listen to our Loud Casa Talks episodes on all podcast providers like Spotify, Anchor Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the podcast providers. We're all there for you. So go ahead and check out our latest episodes. I know that we are behind a couple episodes for the Loud Casa Talks podcast to listen onto these podcast providers. I will fix that up this weekend so you can actually listen to like the secondary characters episode and also the best of 2021 because I haven't put that up yet. And for our next, and also check out our YouTube page as well. Yeah, I know that you guys are currently watching us on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you'll be notified about like when we'll be on. We want to let you guys know that we will have our next Loud Casa Talks happening this Sunday, by the way. Now, we've always done this before. We always get the best episode of the best episode from the best episode tournament have its own episode for Loud Casa Talks. We didn't do this yet from last year's best episode, so this time we're going to do it. This time we're going to do it this time around, where we're actually going to be talking about how the episode "Schooled" actually impacted the whole Loud Casa community to say. Because the thing is that the Schooled episode was going to be a big stepping stone for everybody in the Loud House. I mean, everybody's growing up. Lincoln's going to middle school. Lori's going to high school. Lily's now going to preschool. So in this episode here, in this new Loud Casa Talks episode that we're going to be discussing on April 3rd, we're going to be discussing on how impactful Schooled was for how the Loud House was going to be from season 5 and season 6 going on. So yeah, the next Loud Casa Talks will be on April 3rd, so don't miss out on that, guys. And the date is April 3rd.
Yeah, don't miss out on us talking about how much of an impact School had on the Loud House characters and their growth and development. So let me tell you, like I said before, School is one of the most important Loud House episodes in terms of how the Louds live their lives. It's a stepping stone for them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I'm messing up because I'm just impromptuing it. By the way, yes, Lori goes to college. I remember that.
Yeah,
sorry, I messed up on that.
We're on that Paramount Plus. We want to see more.
Where's my college episode? Where's my college episodes or my series? You end up having a live action Loud House, but where's my Lori episodes now?
In all fairness, it's not the worst live action series to come out of Paramount Plus. No, not by a long shot.
Fairly Parents came out today. Fairly Parents came out today, and apparently it's a mixed review right now. You gotta wait. You gotta wait till you watch it.
I prefer not, honestly, but
okay. All right, that's pretty much it for us here. Thank you all for checking out our YouTube channel for our Loud Casa Talks Loud House review episode. We'll be back next week to review the other remaining season 6 episodes. So make sure you check us out next Thursday. Anyways, that's it for us here. My name is Nate.
And this is Obi. Thanks. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. It's so good to be back after a few weeks, but we're finally back in action and we're finally back to giving you guys more content. So until next time, smell you later, Loud Crowd.